welcome to the Mayday Network. I'm Michelle Kinney. I'm here with the one and only Julie Roginski. This is the Dispatch, where we try to bring you stories almost every day that we think you should care about or know about. And today we have come across a breaking news story reported by Wired.com about Peter Thiel.
But not just Peter Thiel, Michelle.
No. He's the head of the snake here. Yeah. He's the head of the snake here. It's hard to even just know where to be. We're going to go through the article, first of all, just so everybody can see it. I do believe this is not behind a paywall on Wired.com. I can try and drop the link in the chat. And I know everybody's asking everybody to subscribe to everything lately, but let me just tell you, if you have a couple extra dollars, Wired.com is doing the best tech reporting anywhere. They're doing great reporting. Before we get started here, Julie, how you doing?
I'm good. This is a crazy story, Michelle. And you called me and said, holy shit, did you see the story? And I said, I had not. And you read it to me. And we just thought we had to go live with this tonight because it's just crazy train.
It is crazy train. It's the kind of thing that we didn't want to leave until tomorrow. And before I throw this up on screen as well, in my experience, and Julie, I'm sure you've seen the same in your career in politics, especially, there is a certain level of wealth and power that exists in a place that none of us will ever touch. We'll never see it. We'll never be a part of it. And while they may be leaning left and right, there really isn't any sort of core political belief system. It's really just about protecting their own, protecting their power and their wealth. And that is real. That's not a conspiracy theory. I've seen it myself. I'm sure you have too, Julie. And that's why the bipartisan nature in which there are names in this secret society article that we're going to talk about, that was kind of shocking to read at first, but at the same time, actually not so shocking when you really get down to it. So this is not a conspiracy theory, guys. This is real. And I'm just let's begin to walk through this. This was reported around 4:30. It's too tiny for me to be able to see. From Wired.com. To the right, you see a picture of Peter Thiel, who is the tech overlord, part of the original PayPal mafia, and all around evil genius.
I think before we even get to this article, Michelle, I think we should just set the template here for what is going on.
Yeah.
Peter Thiel is not just the founder of PayPal. He's not just a member of the PayPal mafia, along with a bunch of these other guys who have found themselves in the Trump orbit, including Elon Musk. Peter Thiel was basically the first guy in Silicon Valley to endorse Trump. He was the first guy of that ilk back in 2016 to endorse him. He spoke at the Republican National Convention, and it was kind of a big deal back then. He also brought down Gawker. If people remember Gawker. Now, I was not a huge fan of Gawker. They were pretty mean and nasty. Having said that, what he did was pretty amazing. He used Hulk Hogan to sue Gawker because they had outed Peter Thiel. So he used this front man and Hulk Hogan in order to take down Gawker. I say that because this is what Peter Thiel does. Peter Thiel himself is not the guy who's ever out front, but he uses people who are out front to do his dirty work. Most tellingly, J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance was a nobody until Peter Thiel found him. J.D. Vance was a Yale Law School guy who wrote a book. He was an author, so were a lot of other people, until Peter Thiel hired him to work for him at Palantir, or one of his affiliated companies. At the same time, he hired a guy named Blake Masters, who you all remember also ran for Senate in 2022 from Arizona. And I think for Peter Thiel, like a lot of these investment guys, he was going to put his money into a whole bunch of startups and see which one took off, right? Like, you put $1 million here, $1 million there.
Yeah, and you place bets on horses, and you hope one of them
and hope one of them pays off. In this case, J.D. Vance paid off and that he won in Ohio only after Peter Thiel spent an inordinate amount of money getting him elected. J.D. Vance was not going to win if not for Peter Thiel. And then
the single largest political donation in Senate race history. It was $15 million.
And then what's even more telling is that, of course, J.D. Vance had been there for about 5 seconds until all of a sudden he became Donald Trump's running mate, which is also, I think, very fascinating because it's just not something that would normally happen. You got to wonder why. Like, what was given to Donald Trump to pick Vance? And it's not that Vance knew how to speak to Appalachia, because Donald Trump knows how to speak to Appalachia. And it's not that Vance needed, to be the Gen X, the millennial that Donald Trump was going to appeal to, because I don't think J.D. Vance brought anything to Donald Trump. So you got to wonder, why exactly did Donald Trump pick J.D. Vance? I think this is all starting to come into effect here. By the way, J.D. Vance, along with Tucker Carlson, Rebecca Mercer, Peter Thiel, and a bunch of other people, using Peter Thiel's and Rebecca Mercer's money, launched something that is a very long-term project. He did this in 2020 after Trump lost the election. That was going to be a long-term project. That was basically going to be MAGA after Trump, how they were going to take over the country.
Go to hell. Why did you push me? Now you look so pretty.
Post-Trump.
Yep.
And I want to say all of this, Michelle, because what we're about to talk about right now is obviously that, that phrase in media res, when you come into a story in the middle of the action. What we've been talking about J.D. Vance and everything else before, that's clearly the story of coming in the middle of the action. Because the action obviously has been going on since 2006. It's been going on for 20 years. And that I will stop talking and you can talk about this article. But it's just insane how long this has been going on for.
It is. And at first, when I first read it, I was like, wait a second. I didn't already know about this, right? And I didn't. And I actually saw it post additionally after the fact in a couple group chats that I was in. And everyone just like, holy shit, because it seems like one of those like early 2000s movies about like Matt Damon or whatever, like joining some secret society where they're all naked and like flick each other in the balls or whatever. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you think about these things kind of in an abstract way. But in reality, these things do exist. Maybe not the ball stuff, but there are some weird cult sex stuff here, and we're going to talk about that briefly as well, because it is mentioned. I do want to give props to the reporters here. Del Cameron and Yulia Almazova are the two reporters on this story.
A fellow. Good for her. She's not even a working journalist. She's a fellow Wire. I mean, she's a working journalist.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Young, yes.
Wow, I didn't know that. Well, props to them for this excellent reporting. On this first slide, the headline here is Leak Exposes Members of Peter Thiel's Secretive Dialog Society. More than 200 of the world's elites registered for a retreat whose agenda from cult building and sex to prepping for World War III. An associated app offers matchmaking. So, as we get into this here, let me get to the second. And I really do want people to see all of this. It does require us kind of walking through this. So it says a trove of internal records from a secret society for powerful figures in U.S. politics, finance, and tech was left exposed online. Wired has confirmed naming participants in its events and revealing sensitive personal details they were assured would stay private. So none of these people ever thought any of us would find any of this out. Going on here, it says the group called Dialog is a private invitation-only organization co-founded in 2006 by the billionaire tech investor Peter Thiel. Convenes U.S. officials, foreign government figures, and Silicon Valley executives at off-the-record annual retreats. Dialog has spent 2 decades declining to disclose its members. A directory in the website's code was first revealed by the Swiss hacktivist I don't know how to say this. Do you know how to say this, Julie?
Maya Arsen Kremu? I don't even know.
I know. Your guess is good as mine. Known for exposing the U.S. government's no-fly list and breaching the surveillance camera company Verkada. Kremu tells Wired the directory surfaced via anonymous, independently verified its contents. So a source separately provided Wired with the registration list for Dialog's 2026 retreat, which names 222 people and records what the list describes as each registrant's membership status and attendee type, including quote unquote active member and quote unquote guest. The retreat is scheduled for August 12th through 16th at a venue near Dublin, Ireland. That's happening this year. The same data lays out a program of off-the-record sessions, including money, parentheses, does, and parentheses, buy happiness, bring back nuclear, navigating World War III, battlefield technologies, and how's your sex life? Other talks include quote unquote, build a cult, moderated by the founder of the Christian networking site pray.com, and quote unquote, build a party, run by a former White House national security official. Let's just stop there for a second because this is a lot.
By the way, you know who it's just what's fascinating about this is that these people are planning for end times, and not in a religious sense. In we are building bunkers for ourselves. Peter Thiel is now most recently building a bunker for himself and has moved to Argentina. He's also got a place in New Zealand. He's also got a place, I believe, I forgot where, like Mallorca or somewhere, but somewhere in Europe. But the bottom line is he's claiming that he's leaving the United States because it's too dangerous to stay here now.
Bullshit. Although maybe not bullshit for him.
Well, not bullshit. I think they're planning for World War III. And I think they're planning for nuclear war. And I think that they're not just planning for it, they're obviously agitating for it since they want to bring back nuclear. And I don't think they were talking about nuclear energy.
No, that's for sure.
Yeah. And also, this is the same Peter Thiel who's been giving weird speeches. I wrote a whole Substack about this, and I urge people to read his speeches because they're nuts, because they were leaked. His speeches, at least in California, were leaked about the Antichrist. I mean, all of this is very bizarre.
Can I play something really quick?
Of course.
Hold on.
It's time for Operation America 250. Yeah. We're going to go see young Washington and
Peter Thiel knows about the Antichrist. Peter Thiel knows about the Antichrist.
I'm Peter Thiel and I know about the Antichrist.
Let's learn about the Antichrist today.
Hello kids, I'm Peter Thiel and I'm here to talk to you about the Antichrist.
South Park.
South Park does it again. But the funny thing is, like, South Park is making fun of it, but the reality is, if you read his actual speeches about the Antichrist, everything that you would consider to be the opposite of the Antichrist, I guess not the Christ, because Christ has already happened, but like anybody you would consider to be a good human being is who Peter Thiel says is the Antichrist.
Yep.
Like, he is leaning into what I think anybody of any kind of, real biblical persuasion who doesn't pervert it for his own weirdo evil means, but anything about empathy and love and so on, like, that's who you would think, that's what he would think is the Antichrist. I mean, the point is, this is a strange guy, but so I don't want to dwell too much on Peter Thiel, because I think what's so fascinating about this is who is part of his little mafia. And you guys prepare to be blown away.
Yeah, prepare for it to shooketh. Let me see. This is, yes, we already read that. Okay. Together, back to the article, alongside the mundane fare of a typical thought leadership conference, the documents show an extraordinary convergence of power. The registration records list General Alexis Grinkowicz, NATO's Supreme Allied Commander Europe and the head of U.S. European Command, who took the post in July 2025 and is recorded on the leaked list of having attended dialogue gatherings since 2021. The website directory names sitting Trump administration officials, 2 senators, 6 members of the PayPal mafia, which, if you look at that list, it's not hard to figure out which ones, a former Middle East chief of intelligence, and a sitting ambassador to the United States, along with the founders and directors of many of the country's largest surveillance, data broker, and advertising data companies. Those executives appear side by side with senior U.S. officials overseeing their industries. Orrin Hoffman, Dialog's chairman, founded the location data broker SafeGraph and the identity resolution firm LiveRamp, 2 of the most important suppliers in the consumer data economy. He appears in the directory alongside Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, whose department writes the rules on financial data, and Senator Ted Cruz, chairman of the Commerce, Science, and Transportation Committee, which oversees the Federal Trade Commission and its Data Privacy Authority. Palantir co-founder Joe Lonsdale, whose software runs case management for U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement and data fusion for the Pentagon and intelligence community, is listed in the same society as Army Secretary Dan Driscoll and Representative Democrat Jim Himes, the ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee, which oversees agencies Palantir contracts with.
Now, we have interviewed Jim Himes twice on this show.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to bring Jim Himes back.
Yeah.
He's willing to answer a few questions about this. Now, I don't think he will want to come back, but I would dearly love to have him back for a few tough questions about what the hell he's doing, hanging out in this weirdo cabal.
Well, I remember back earlier this year, he was like one of the only Democrats that was coming out talking about surveillance. No, let's keep surveillance. And everyone was like, huh? And here's a headline here from Wired.com. I believe this is in March, and it's a picture of Jim Himes here from Connecticut. A top Democrat is urging colleagues to support Trump's spy machine. Congressman Jim Himes claims a sweeping surveillance authority should stay intact because he hasn't seen abuses by Kash Patel's FBI. What? I mean, this is crazy. And then going into, there's another article here. Let me see. Donations from Palantirs to Connecticut lawmakers spark outcry. This is from February of this year. 2 senators and a congressman from Connecticut are facing criticism from immigrant rights advocates for accepting campaign contributions from a tech company assisting federal deportation efforts. Just FYI, in addition to Jim Himes here, is Senators Chris Murphy and Richard Blumenthal. Alarming.
Yeah, but at least Murphy and Blumenthal are not hanging out.
Well, yeah, they're not listed. As far as
not
listed. Well, yeah. I mean, here's again, like they only really tell us in this article, which we'll bring back up here in a second. They only give us a handful of names. The rest of them are just kind of like titles, and I don't know why that is. Maybe it's going to be a drip. I don't know. But yeah, this is bananas, guys. And there's something about Jim Himes that I was always just like, I don't know, but now it's all kind of coming together. Back to this article here. It says none of the individuals named in this story responded to requests for comment, I'm sure. Rafi Grinberg, who lists himself as Dialog's executive director in his LinkedIn profile and is the author of the self-help book, How to Be a Grown-Up, did not respond to a request for comment.